You've heard about the SafeUT app, but what you probably don't know is how it's saving lives every day.
Yeah, our Beyond the Books unit looking at the numbers. Chris Jones here. Chris, this app is a place where Utah students can actually report threats, right?
Yeah, and they're doing it hourly. Hundreds of tips about weapons, thousands of tips about bullying, suicide, and self-harm. And the people who run the app say a life is saved just about every day.
Successful. 3.7 GPA student.
Chandler Vute
Talked about being an oncologist.
was a mother's dream.
Self-taught piano.
But on June 3rd, 2017, less than 24 hours after this picture was taken, a family nightmare.
It was a total blindside to us.
Chandler took his own life.
There was nothing that indicated that Chandler would be in that category, right?
From at the time, he appeared to be a normal teenager. This suicide was not something that we expected at all.
Catherine and her husband may never know exactly what prompted their son's suicide. But in the wake of his death, they speak to groups about suicide. And they're singing the praises of the SafeUT app, a state-sponsored resource that connects kids in crisis with help.
But people need to be able to talk about that. And sometimes they don't feel comfortable talking one-on-one with someone, even their closest friends.
From July 2017 to October 2018, the SafeUT app got nearly 1,500 texts about kids thinking about suicide. Clinicians literally got help to those kids minutes before they took their own lives. But the app is also a place where kids can text about threats they've seen in school and on social media. Here's a threat at Indian Hills Middle School last year that was reported to SafeUT and cleared as a hoax. But there are real threats out there.
I mean, lives have been saved because of this app.
Absolutely. Many lives.
Barry Rose is the clinical manager for SafeUT.
Do you think that this app has helped prevent a Columbine-style shooting at one of our schools?
Yes, I think so. They've found students coming to school with loaded firearms. At one point, there was a situation where we were able to locate a student at their home and found bomb-making materials and weapons. So that's happened quite a few times, actually, and I think it was imminent in some cases.
In fact, Beyond the Books has uncovered these previously unpublished numbers. From 2018 to 2019, the SafeUT app received 12 tips about explosives, 218 tips about students with guns, and 175 tips about possible planned school attacks.
Did you ever think that the app would be as successful as it's been?
Never my wildest dreams.
Representative Steve Eliason sponsored the legislation that made this app possible. He says he's been told of specific cases where bombs have been uncovered and guns taken.
Weapons confiscated from children at the doors of the school. Knock on wood, Utah has been spared the violence that we've seen in other states.
We just did not know that he was at risk at all.
Tonight, Catherine is preparing for a talk next week she'll give to parents about suicide. She says the app wasn't fully functional at the time of Chandler's death, and there's no way to know if it might have saved him. But she believes that other lives have and will be saved at the click of this button.
Teens feel comfortable to be able to text, and they understand that people are in crisis. And this will help them, so they can be heard that way.
And so what surprises most people is how quickly kids have jumped on board. They think the reason is because kids love to use text messages, and that's why it's been so successful. Also, we think it's important to put this number up for you. It is the national hotline about suicide. If you've been thinking about these thoughts, please give this line a call. Also, if you have an education story that you think needs to be investigated, give us a call. We'd love to look into it.
You know, with suicide being an epidemic among Utah teenagers, I'm really struck by the numbers, Chris, and I guess it's because they can be anonymous. They don't have to make that phone call and talk to an adult.
That's right. In fact, the people who run the hotline say that kids don't call and talk to people. They will, however, text. And that's why this thing has been so incredibly successful, is because kids will text, and they've had thousands of these kinds of conversations with kids, and they've saved lives every single day.
It's working. That's the important thing.
It's working. It's
All right,
working.
Chris, thank you very much.
You bet.